Interfaith has known for a very long time that we needed a new building with more space. The pandemic forced us to speed up our process to find a location in order to continue serving the number of guests who are currently in our shelter system, which is 245, including single men, women, and families with children. It's important to note that if we were to move back all of our services to the emergency shelter, we can only serve 164, and we currently serve 245. 4306 West State Street is a 30,000 square foot building sitting on just under 2 acres of land. This building will allow us to provide better shelter with a housing first approach to 205 guests, 96 of those guests being families with children. What this new building offers is 24/7 access to our building for all guests being served in our shelter. We've never had this ability to serve this way at our emergency shelter where we're currently at. Until there is more affordable housing, Interfaith Sanctuary and our community have the responsibility to serve our neighbors without homes with higher standards of shelter and care. This is what this new shelter model is proposing to do.
To begin, I'm representing the residents and businesses of the DPNA. We've had an overwhelming response since the project has been announced. Despite the low internet connectivity of our neighborhood, we've achieved an 8.7% response rate. Of that large sample, 97% have voted to oppose the proposed move to State Street. I just wanted to reiterate Cody's point that the question before us today is about the specific site, not about homelessness in Boise. This is maps of the fire and EMS calls, which, as documented by the fire chief, are very high for Boise. Interfaith was the highest location between 2017 and 2020 in the Shoreline District. They receive approximately 3 to 4 calls per service per week. By contrast, the proposed State Street site has an average of 5 calls per year. The priority of codes in the data set indicate that about 77% of the calls to Interfaith would receive a lights and sirens response. And from that, we can deduce that the noise impact alone would make this site incompatible with residential uses. These calls reflect a suite of impact types that show that the proposed use is not compatible with residential neighborhood. It will adversely affect other property in the vicinity, even if conditioned, and will burden public services. The evidence on record simply does not support a factual finding that the project as proposed will not impact the surrounding area. It is the inherent intensity of the shelter home use, compounded by the high density that Interfaith proposes, even in relation to other shelters of its type, that generate the high impact nature of shelter.
You're talking about sheltering a very specific community. The conditions of approval, more importantly, that have been outlined tonight in the staff report, and you've heard from your staff, go far beyond the conditions of approval that have ever been imposed by the city of Boise on any other conditional use permit for a shelter home. We believe that these standards are appropriate under these circumstances, that these standards and these conditions are appropriate in satisfaction of condition 4. We recognize that there are those that will claim that we have not heard their voices throughout this process to the extent that reasonable and valid concerns have been brought to our attention. We've attempted to address those. There have been material modifications and improvements to this application throughout the public engagement process and throughout the process resulting from the Better Shelter Task Force.